And now it's time for my interview with Jordan Brady. No, really. No, run it. Run the. All right, we are here with comedian, director, documentarian, and all-around good guy, Jordan Brady. How are you, Jordan? How's the things
Don,
going?
thanks. Under the circumstances, I'm healthy and my family's healthy, and that was quite an intro. So I'm doing good.
Yeah, well, thanks. I mean, we are going through some crazy times. So, how's the quarantine going with you so far?
Well, I'm a lucky person. I have a home studio that I sneak off to that has, full gear. I've got like a little sound and microphone deal going there with a
Nice.
light. I can make my little bullshit Instagram videos, and that keeps me from going stir crazy. But like I said, my family's healthy, and that's what matters.
Well, thank God. Now, are you staying put, or when was the last time you were out in public?
Well, here's the dirty secret. I'm actually not, like, my home office is a couple of miles from my house, but I'm in a building where out of a couple hundred people, there's 5 of us sneaking in.
Right.
So I haven't seen another human in this building for a long time.
Right.
And I mask it up.
I see you got
in the parking lot. I'm ready. This is I think this is like a R15. It's not R45 compliant or whatever the number is. It's low grade bandana. So I've been riding my bike or driving to the office, and I stay here late, but I haven't interacted. I went to the grocery store the other day. The scariest fucking thing is going through like Starbucks or McDonald's, and they're handing you stuff, and you're looking at them like, well, they're not the sharpest tool in the shed, right? Are they like, here's your Big Mac? So I'm sanitizing my hands. I have one in the car, one in the office. As soon as I get home, my wife, I don't know if you remember the movie Andromeda Strain, but when I go in the house, like the shoes are off outside, right, I'm wiping shit down. They should make like a Clorox beach towel that you could just.
They should. See, you can. Right? We have to adapt to this new way of living now.
Like a Snuggie made of Clorox wipe.
Yeah, and just be like a safe room when you come in to change. Get the Snuggie wipe, and then go about.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of like the front porch that you screen in or the Florida room some people have, right, it's the decontamination room. That'll be a thing.
I just want to talk about right out of the gates that you've directed these awesome documentaries, and that
oh, thank you.
Every fan of stand-up comedy needs to watch these. Like, I Am Comic, the first one was amazing. I think that's the first time I ever kind of reached out to you, and
it's all downhill from there. The other two aren't.
No, the other two are great. I Am Road Comic. And
that's a fun one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I loved it. And then I Am Battle Comic is the kind of the latest one.
Yeah, and terrible name. What a stupid fucking name. I Am Battle Comic. It's about entertaining the troops. By the way, I'm looking at you on my screen here. I'm not trying to be rude. Like, I know that's the people. Right. But everyone thinks I Am Battle Comic. Oh, it's like roast battles. It's like right. You must have followed the roast battle scene, and Jeff Ross is in it and all that. Right, that's what that title means to me. So
that's what I should have when I first heard it.
I know, because I'm a fucking idiot, man. It should have been called like I Am Comic Military Grade.
Right.
That would have been a good title.
Yeah. I don't think you're gonna be receiving any direct fire on the plane. Okay. And if you do, you're gonna need a lot more than the vest if you're on a plane when it happens.
But
But when you
sometimes
watch
I screw up.
But when you watch it, it fits, and then you say to yourself, and seeing you guys go through all that. But I did want to see now that we're going through this, and with all these Facebook Lives, and have you ever thought of I Am Quarantined Comic?
I mean, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, Don. Will it sustain 90 minutes or 82 minutes? I don't know.
That's a good point, yeah. But
I'm enjoying some funny people. Like Seth Meyers, his monologue on Zoom when he's alone. Right, John Oliver, I'm enjoying.
Yep.
I've seen a couple of stand-ups doing some stuff. I want to say, who did I see that was funny? I mean, Bill Burr's always funny, and he talks to the camera alone in an Instagram post pre-COVID.
Right.
But for the most part, these shows, like with a bunch of people around, I'm not adapting well.
They're hard
Maybe
to
I'm
follow.
old.
I'm with you. I like the one-on-one, or I do like we have, you know, on Long Island here, one of our Long Island legends is Joey Cola. He does a
Joey
lot
Cola is a legend.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Yeah.
A great guy, hilarious. He does these stand-up specials once a week on Facebook Live that we've all been watching, and a lot of other comics. But I'm with you. The multiple heads, it's just too much, you know, for me. But I do like seeing everyone getting out there and still performing, you know.
Right. You know, it's when you say Joey's been doing it for weeks, that shows you where we are. Like, we're a month into this shit now.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. I think he does it every Saturday night, maybe, like where he would normally be performing. So he does his whole living room up. He's got the microphone, his wife
nice.
him, and he does like a whole thing as if you're in he has a laugh track.
That's pretty genius.
Yeah, yeah. And
for the stupid people that don't know where the punchlines fall.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I got to check that out.
Yeah.
Has he been on this I don't know, you call it a Zoomcast, a podcast? What do you call it, Don?
I'm calling this a Zoomcast. This is our the name of our show is Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up.
Yeah.
And we're normally a kind of comedy game show. But now with the quarantine, can't really do it that way. So I went kind of back to my roots and started interviewing guys and putting together kind of a show that's got like other comedians will send in sketches and skits and jokes and stuff, and I'll kind of combine everything.
So wonderful!
Like laughing for the new generation.
Sure.
Type of
Maybe
thing.
should I like pop in and say a joke and then pop out? By the way, what is this room you're in? You've got 5 sliding glass doors behind you.
I am actually like in the patio here.
And what is that? A bullwhip or what's behind you there? Some nautical theme? Big balls or
nautical theme? It's what my these just big balls of rope that yeah, those are for later. And but yeah, I'm out here on like by the Hamptons in Long Island. I'm in Manorville, right by. I don't know if you've been out to the Hamptons before.
Sure, I have. Yeah, it's ritzy. It's fancy pants.
But I'm not in the fancy. I'm right by Riverhead.
Yeah, but you're not committed to the nautical theme. It's just the rope. Like I don't see any other sailing shit or okay. Yeah,
this is my...
Let's you hang. Can you mount it like right there?
I just keep it right here for the rest of the interview.
Yeah, there you. Well, yeah, a little left. That's perfect.
There you go.
That's perfect. Get you a hat and maybe a one of those ship's wheels in the back.
Yeah, I do. That's what's missing here. This is my wife's style. She loves all this stuff. So.
Yeah.
But that's one of the fun things too about the Facebook Lives. You get to kind of see inside everyone's living situation a little bit. Get to see their house or their room or their office. And so
I got my stuff.
Yeah,
now here's a comedy thing. Can you see that right there?
Yeah, the painting.
The painting. It's in a red frame, and it is a self-portrait of and by Phyllis Diller.
Wow. Is that
a legend? I can't say living legend. She passed away a few years back.
Right. But
so
she was in I Am Comic. Yeah.
She was in I Am Comic. And, I thank you for the compliments on the movie. I do like them. And what I love about Phyllis Diller in I Am Comic is she says a setup and punchline old school joke that gets a laugh every time that I've ever screened the film. And we, went to festivals and I've done fundraising screenings and shit. And the joke is, the best contraceptive for old people is nudity. And she does this classic laugh. And without Phyllis Diller, there's no Joan Rivers. Without Joan Rivers, there's no Sarah Silverman. There's no Kathy Griffin. There's no Jeanine Garofalo. Without them, there's no Nikki Glaser. There's no Eliza Schlesinger. There's no anybody. Bonnie McFarlane has a great documentary called Women Aren't Funny.
Yeah.
I've been out for a while, and I love that documentary. She is hilarious.
Yeah.
You should get her on your show. She loves the nautical themed stuff.
Good. I'll keep
That'll get her. Yeah. By the way, the seahorse, the male carries the babies.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
It's one of the few species that the male is saddled with the birthing process.
Wow. I did not know that.
No shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
cool.
Anyway, that's Phyllis Diller. I wish I could tell you she gave me that when We filmed at her house, but she actually sold it to me at a discount. Like I got a discount, but that's her.
But that's pretty cool. That's a Phyllis Diller self-portrait by Phyllis Diller hanging up in your house right now. That's pretty amazing. That's awesome, man. Yeah. And you've had like all of the who's of comedy on all three of these documentaries. And the one thing I do love that you did in I Am Comic, and you know, I know he had to be doing it to try to be funny or shocking, but when Carlos Mencia went on his little rampage about stealing jokes, I mean, what were you thinking when he was doing that?
I was thinking, this is documentary gold.
If you think that I steal jokes, fuck yeah, you're right. Of course I fucking steal jokes. Are you out of your fucking mind? When I come to a comedy club, you better run, bitch. You better get the fuck off stage. Because if anything you say is even remotely funny, I'm gonna make it mine. And all I'm gonna do is say Mexican in the front. I'm like a rapper. I just sample shit and make it my own. Was that really my song? I don't know. But it sounds like mine, but it kind of sounds like somebody else's. It's a hit, bitch!
He was a good sport. And I mean, if you're okay, so people watching this are comedy fans.
Yes, definitely.
And if you've seen this movie or if you go back and watch it, you'll see that I actually give him too much screen time because I felt guilty. Like, and Carlos, if you're watching, thank you for the confession. You can try to bullshit your way out of it, but you did confess. And then, you know, Marin and other guys had him on their shows and they talked about it and he tried to brush it off. But he knew what we were trying to get. We finished the interview where he talked about comedy and doing the road and writing jokes and finding his persona. And he had he has a great career, had a show and everything. And then at the end, I said, hey, is there anything else you want to talk about? Is there anything you want to say? And he literally was our last comedian. And his manager was like, don't ask him about stealing material. So I didn't ask. I just said, is there anything you want to say? He goes, I know what you want. And then he started it. He goes, people say, Carlos, do you steal jokes? Fuck yeah, I steal. And he tried to make fun of it. But I think if you really watch, he's trying to come clean.
Yeah, like the first time I ever saw it was when I watched a documentary. I wasn't expecting, didn't hear anything about it. All of a sudden, there's Carl. I was like, holy shit! I can't believe he you know, because kind of I knew he was trying to be funny, also trying to be like, yeah, you know, like make light of it in an aggressive way. But then all of a sudden, you know, people started talking about it and the buzz started rolling. And then when I watch it again, you know, through the years, you know, you just kind of say, yeah, he was definitely he kind of meant it.
He meant it. And well, I mean, you know, I know it's an old story. You know, the movie's 10 years old, and I think that whole Rogan Comedy Store clip was probably 3 or 4 years before that, right?
Yeah, around that.
And since then, you know, it's interesting how YouTube has become the comedy police. Yeah. Like people will put the Amy Schumer bit next to the Patrice O'Neill bit, right? Isn't that the one about the ghost outside or something?
Yeah, and they all those.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, at some point you can go, well, we all thought it. I remember when I was a young stand-up comedian, I did a joke and people were like, hey, David Brenner did that 20 years ago. Right. And I'm like, well, I never watched David Brenner. So there are some low-hanging fruit topics that everyone's going to have the same joke, right? Like something will happen in the news and I'll say to my wife, hey, this is back when like the late night monologues were on television with an audience. I'd say, hey, this is the joke that someone's going to do tonight. But I would predict the joke because it's there, right? You see it, I see it, we all see it. But when you get to a full routine, that's pretty...
Yeah.
That's pretty obvious that you had some sticky fingers in that situation.
It's very easy just to be accommodating and efficient as opposed to unique and original. And, you know, that's the big trick.
Don, I have a theory as a documentarian and aficionado of an impresario of stand-up comedy. I don't practice stand-up that much. But when I do, I kill. But my theory is that it is the singer, not the song. Like I asked Bud Friedman, who had seen, started the improvs back in the day.
Yeah.
What's better to have, great material or the ability to perform great material? And he was like, "Oh, that's a great question. We talked about that." I am now on the side of a great performer can deliver mediocre material, but a lame performer will fuck up great material.
Right.
And that people seem to resonate with certain comedians that, I scratch my head and go, I don't get it. It's not my cup of tea, but people connect with them.
It's just in the delivery, the demeanor. They might not even be saying anything funny. It's just how they're saying it. Like you said, like they always say, the difference between a comedian and a comic is the comedian says funny things and the comic says things funny, or could be vice versa, something like that.
Yeah, that one never stuck with me because I could never remember which one did what.
Yeah, I don't know which is the
one.
Yeah, but it's similar to what you just was saying. Yeah, and I do think that like with Robin Williams, for example, when he would just go off, I think the reason he gets a pass is because it was everyone kind of understood it was like stream of consciousness. Like he didn't go up there with a set list and deliberately kind of take it. It was just kind of osmosis. It just kind of like he's just rambling and then saying punchlines that they heard the day before or whatever.
It's the singer, not the song.
Right.
So
exactly.
I think one of my favorite Beatles songs is the Joe Cocker rendition of "Get By with a Little Help, My Friends." So if you compare that, I know singing is like it's okay to cover songs, but you can't cover jokes. Like the karaoke comedian never really rose to prominence, right? Like some impressionists do impressions and then a joke of that person they're doing an impression of, and that's like, I don't even get why that's entertaining.
Or why they get a pass. They're completely
why do they get a pass?
They're completely taking somebody's whole persona and essence and everything. Now watching
you know what I also go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Your show.
No, go ahead. I want to hear what you had.
Punching down is a new thing that wasn't around. I think that's while it's politically correct, which sometimes is frowned upon, I think that's a good thing, not to make fun of the disenfranchised.
Yeah, last time I was here, I actually saw a camel go, son of a which is weird. In this part of the world, you wouldn't think the camels would even speak English.
They're going to let us fire a Patriot missile or two each. Is it? No?
Navy seems to be a go-to punchline when it's not the Navy. Or if it is the Navy, then the Air Force was a good punchline.
Now, one thing that you said, like in the I Am Battle comic, is you got back on the road and you got kind of back on the horse as far as doing stand-up, but you kept saying it in the beginning a few times that you're not one of the comedians. You don't consider yourself a comedian. And that's how you got your start in this whole business. Is do you really feel that way, that you're not a comedian anymore? Are you more a director now?
Well done.
You're the guy that brought us Boom Chicka Bow. You've changed our culture.
That was wow. That's a heavy cross to bear, and I'll take it. Yes, for your younger fans, I will say that my signature bit, my get her done, right, was doing the porn theme music from the 70s jazz, Bow Chicka Wow Wow, which became, it was first used in an ad, I think, for, because I was making commercials already when that happened. And I was like, oh, and even my ex-wife was like, they're doing your bit. And then they started doing it on Friends and shows, and it became part of the thing.
Bow Chicka Bow Wow. Bow Wow. What is that song that's been in my head all day?
And if you go up and tell someone, like, it's like saying I invented the Q-tip. And they're like, yeah, sure you did. Everybody has Q-tips. And you were the first. But that was my bit, and I did it on a lot of shows. Like, it is well documented. But your question, do I call myself a comedian? I actually think that once you're a comedian, you're a comedian.
That's right. Yes.
I think whether you're doing mics, what we used to call open mics, or mics now, that's changed, right?
Right. Yeah.
The last 10 years, you call it a mic.
They call it
But
mics.
yeah, if you do a mic and you're living it and you think like a comedian, you're actually getting on stage and doing it, then you are a comedian. And I also think once a comedian, kind of always a comedian until you have some sort of religious ceremony, you know?
Is the Coast Guard part of the military, or is that like a club? It's a club, right? I mean, it's not really. What do they do? There's a pamphlet, you sign it, you color a turtle, you're in. I mean, it can't really be that hard to be in the Coast Guard.
Now, another question I want to ask you.
You're very prepared. I appreciate that, because I didn't know what we were going to talk about.
Oh yeah, well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. Now, like I said, I've followed you for a long time.
Hey, Doug, let me say this real quick before I forget. If you go on Facebook, the link to I Am Battle Comic is on my Facebook page, and I can repost it or you can post it. And if you put in COVID-19, you can watch the movie for free.
Excellent. Yeah.
And to date, every penny from I Am Battle Comic, we did a theatrical tour a couple years ago. Tammy Pescatelli came, Slade Ham came out, Jeff Capri, like we all went and supported the movie. We did a big one in LA. So we raised about, it was like $41,000 with a no budget indie film, 100% of the door to the charities, to military charities, veterans charities, and their families. So you can watch it for free, and I'll still make a donation based on how many people watch it.
Wow, that's awesome. That's very awesome indeed. And when people do watch this movie, I think you definitely get a newfound respect for the military and also for the comedians who are entertaining, and how much the comedy means to them and to the troops.
Didn't get the one I want, George Lopez. George Lopez basically cries twice in the movie. He got heavy about how much he loves the troops and how it changed his view, myself included. But after going overseas, how he saw what it meant to defend freedom at home. And a lot of people, and look, I'm in California. I'm a leftist, hippie. You name it. And I hate the war. I don't know why we're there.
Right.
Clearly there were no weapons of mass destruction, and it's 20-some years later and we're still there and people are dead.
Yeah.
So I hate all that. But that doesn't, and I don't want to use your show as a soapbox.
No, that's fine.
The troops that are there. Like, they volunteered to serve our country, and I believe that I know firsthand that shit that they stop from happening over there protects us here. That shit that they discover, people plotting to do more evil shit
right.
in America, like that's real. It's not like I'm a conspiracy theorist or anything.
Yeah.
Like, people are plotting to do bad shit all the time, and we do bad shit too. I mean, that's a whole nother doc, but it's not funny.
Right. No, but I think it is great what you did. Like, that's when you take whatever your political beliefs are, you kind of put it aside and you look at the human being. You look at these 18-year-old kids, these young men and women who are out there on the front lines defending our freedoms at all costs. So I commend you guys for doing that. That's huge. And it is deep. Like, when you watch the documentary, when you see George Lopez or even Slade Ham gets emotional a couple times. And it's definitely shows you not only the comedy side of it and your journey through it, but also the kind of humanity and like I said, how important comedy really is, how important it is to uplift somebody. Because one of them, the military guys in the documentary, was explaining to you that a lot of these guys haven't laughed in weeks. Yeah. And then you guys come in, you kind of lift their spirit and you're making them laugh. And, there's not enough thank yous that can go out to do that. You know what I mean?
Slade's been doing it for umpteen years. Don Barnhart put the tour together. And Don I've known since the 80s. We're about the same age, from the same sort of comedy boom generation. And Don has the Battle Comics. Battle Comics is his franchise of taking people over. So if you're a comedian, get in touch with Don Barnhart because he organizes tours. So does Slade. So does Jeff Capri. He's been doing it for a long time. And so that's why that's part of the reason we call it I Am Battle Comics, because Don made it happen. Bob Kubota, who has been killing for decades, he is so anti-war, but he does what you said. He checks it at the door and he entertains those young people that are serving. And he's gotten letters from parents who said, I don't know you, but my son wrote me a letter that he saw you as a comedian, and he was thinking about taking his life until you made him laugh again. Wow. Like, that's how dire shit gets out there. And Bob's kills. He kills, by the way. Set up, punch, boom.
Yeah.
But I digress.
No, that was it was like I said, a great. All three of them, the documentaries, all have different tones to them, but they're all great. I love what you're doing. With stand up, the stories you're telling, it's terrific. I still think if you didn't think of that before I mentioned it earlier, the I Am Quarantine Comic, I think
that's a good one.
I think it's got some legs.
Everyone asked Don about I Am Open Mic Comic. That's the most emailed request. What about an open mic documentary? And my answer is they're open micers. Like no one's watching them in the club. Why would they be a good movie?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
So the quarantine thing might be a nice time capsule.
Right. That's how I'm seeing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a little look at what was. And I hope, all jokes aside, I hope we get to the other side of it, that we can look back and go, holy shit, do you remember when people were doing comedy in front of their laptops? I still want to do I Am Boat Comic about the cruise ship comedian.
That'd be great.
Hijinks on the high seas. A look behind the poop deck. But I got to get one. It would be funny, right? Like, you're living on a cruise ship for a week?
Yeah, I think it would be great. There'd be a lot of stuff going on, too. Jordan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. I really
thanks
appreciate
for having
it. Like I said, I love what you do. The I Am Battle Comic, people can go and find. I'm going to put the link onto this site so everyone can see it.
Okay, I'll send you on Facebook. I'll send you the link.
Terrific.
Thanks for having me, man. You're the best.
Yeah, you're the best. I appreciate it.
I'll see you, man.
Take care, my friend. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace.